Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We've already had our pledge to the flag earlier, so we will move on to our review and approval of today's agenda. And there are 11 items on there. Is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
By Joan, second by Warren. Any other comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. That moves us down to the county board members issue form. Joan,
That was the agenda.
That
You
was
need
the
to
agenda.
consent items.
we better do one at a time. Is there a motion for the consent items?
Nobody's volunteering for that one.
I'm looking at them again just to make sure.
I will, just to get it on the table.
All right, thank you, Warren. I will second it
All right.
and take a look through those 11 items, please.
They look good.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those 11 are approved. Now we'll move on to our members issue form. Joan,
Oh, goodness gracious.
got a list probably. Looks like it.
Yeah, it's, yeah. So let's see. Where am I at? We had extension meeting and we, I suppose you can cover some of that. So
I
I
can
don't
do
need
that too, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, we did, Marlis and I stayed back and we worked on the review of our ag educator, 4-H, and our regional director. And so then Marlis was going to put that in online. And then I headed to the cities for AMC annual meeting. And I started Sunday afternoon off with our board of directors meeting. Went over our priorities. I came out of our district meetings, and for the first time ever that the staff can remember, that solid waste
Yep.
came up to the top. And so then off of that, actually, staff put together a letter to the editor that they were going to submit. And so then just kind of, ask the board who they would like to have sign it and stuff. And, if we want to just do like district delegates or, staff or whatever. And I did tell Matt that I would be willing to sign on to it as our district delegate. And I think in some ways they were a little too nice, that, could have come a little bit harder at the issues that we're facing. But I mean, I think it's good and shows, brings forth the issues that counties are dealing with. And then I attended MRC, but Gary was there also. So if you want to, you can touch
Okay.
on that. But the one thing I did find interesting was the 2024 Minnesota County Value and Tax Information, and seeing how counties stack up against each other. So
Yeah, I must have left those. I've got some copies for you too. I picked that up. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
We were about in the middle, I think.
yeah, we're kind of in the middle, but yeah, and I think really kind of the interesting part is just for 2024, the county tax on a $250,000 house homesteaded. I mean, that the lowest was $396 up to $1,494. Wide range. But I did have to give my commissioner in Mille Lacs County a little bit of a hard time because with my property down there, because Mille Lacs is second from the bottom for the highest. So
Whoa,
yeah. And then moving on to the regular um, um, conference. And I started off with education and training committee meeting on Monday morning because we are always tasked with volunteering to kind of take charge of the rooms that the breakout sessions are in, and making sure that the speakers have everything they need, handing out and collecting the surveys, doing a head count, just all the logistics and stuff. And so I did Monday. I was in a meeting regards to cannabis, and which continues to be and Paul was in there too. Just continues to be a moving target. So there's, I think, counties and cities trying to do the best we can with the information we have now, but and there's not a lot of guidance from the state department, because they're trying to feel everything out too. So it's really hard to try and figure out what this looks like going forward. There's just a lot of things hanging out there yet. And then on, let's see, was that? I don't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday, was the MCIT meeting, and there was an open seat. Well, Jack Swanson and Marsha Ward were the only candidates for their seats. And then there were 3 initially for an open seat. The Scott County Commissioner pulled out, so then it was between the auditor treasurer at Wright and a commissioner from Pennington. And
Who was that?
Um,
Peterson or?
no, it's
Seth?
I think he's the one that
Oh,
took Daryl's position.
okay.
So yeah, he's only been a commissioner for 2 years. And so he was at the meeting, but the auditor treasurer was not, but she was elected. So she did show up to the meeting later on, but that I was kind of a little surprised on that, but yeah. And on Tuesday, I was on 2 panels. One of them was I was with Sarah Reese, and we talked about public health and kind of what we're doing at our local level. And then we were asked to talk about what we're doing with the opioid settlement funding. And then right after that, then our team did a presentation on our Reach and Roll project. Had different counties reach out to us about how to get involved in the program. And, like there was one public health person that she talked to me later, and she goes, she's like, I'm thinking about, well, can we do this? But then it's like, why are we not doing this? So, I think there's, good work that's going to continue to come out of this program. Oh yeah, that's right. And then we had our policy meetings Monday morning. So I was at vice chair for the Health and Human Services, and we did bring some amendment changes that were brought to the business meeting on Wednesday morning and were passed. And any changes that were brought from all the policy committees were passed at the annual meeting. And then Thursday, before I left the cities, and I had a shack meeting, and we had elections there. And now our vice chair, Dee Molitor from Waseca, moves up to the chair, and then Lori Halverson from Dakota County was elected as vice chair. And those are 2-year positions. And then Friday morning, had a public health meeting and just a lot of the end of the year things of approving contracts. And actually, there's one of the grants that we accepted is actually a cannabis and substance use prevention grant. But then we're also still fighting for the, because initially the legislature had allocated money to public health or CHBs for education for the cannabis. Well, then they took that funding away. So we're still fighting to get that, funding restored in the next legislative session. And then yesterday morning I did my radio program, and I think that's enough for me.
All right, Warren.
Okay, at the AMC, I went through several of those, whatever you call them,
Sessions.
sessions.
There we go.
One of them is an internship program from Martin County, and what they do is they check with their college students, whatever field they might be in. Maybe it's engineering, they might try to bring them back for a summer and maybe have them arrange some kind of a working relationship, maybe with the county or with somebody else that might use that engineering degree. And what they do is they pay for their summer internship, some salary there. And
Okay.
it's a combination of the county and a workforce group there. But they had lots of good examples, and I don't know if it's anything that we might be interested in or not, but I listened to it and thought was somewhat impressed.
Really good for recruiting.
Yeah. And then I went to Minnesota Public Land Survey System, which was pretty much over the top of my head.
Usually because it's GIS.
Mm,
I have a
Well,
copy
that
of
would make
this I'm gonna
sense.
throw on Rich when he comes in this morning.
Right on.
Get ready. But it was a good session, and there were a couple more that I went through that I'm not remembering at this point.
I think you were at the cannabis one.
Yes, I was. Yeah,
Corrections.
corrections.
Yeah.
And
You went with me to the vets. I'll talk to it about it.
yeah, well, the corrections one, virtually all of the discussion was about funding. There's three different funding sources that work in corrections. The county agents, probation, this is probation part of corrections,
mhm,
and the county system, and then there's the Minnesota Association of Community Action, whatever it is, that group, and then there's what is the other one, the big one? No. There's three of them, three different funding sources, and they've been trying to get to some fairness between all of us. I've been trying to do that for years, for as long as I've been in this corrections area, still talking about that, and it's not happening. Part of the problem is that some of the metro type people. But the third one is the actual Department of Corrections stuff, and that one kind of rules the roost in the legislature. It seems like they get better funding than the rest.
mhm.
But it went on for a long time. Nothing new there. I had corrections, I had corrections on Monday. Some of the numbers there. Tri-County had 120 in that day. There were 49 of those people in the system were on per diems. 71 came from the member counties, 24 from Monoman, which is up, getting close to their 30 number.
Mhm.
Polk County had 64. The average for the month was 134. Income was $122,033, which is right good again. The juvenile center, there were 10 in there that day, which is getting up close to maximum. 4 from member counties. The month average was only 2.7 on the secure side. It was 4.1 on the non-secure side. Probation, 78 new cases, 79 closed, so that was gain of 1. 2 open positions in the department, one is in probation, so they're getting right down to the point where they're almost full staff. But you still got that same issue about experience. There's very few of them that have anything more than 1 year experience. That's one area where you need some experience. Um, as far as the contract or the budget for next year, it includes a 4% COLA wage increase and $1,090 in a month in benefits. And that's in 25. We had approved some contracts. One was from Gordon Dale, who does our audit bit there. That was for 10,700. That's quite a bit different than what we pay for other I don't know what it is, but it's got to be quite a bit less. That was only up $200. A meal contract, average meal cost is $2.78. That contract went up 4%. City of McIntosh, $125 a month for some rent there. I don't know. That's going to be unbelievably cheap. I don't know if that's corrections. It must have to be corrections.
Or is that probation? Because I think they use a room in the fire hall.
Yeah, see, or that's right. Okay, then that's probably enough on that one. And then I got these that I passed out. Pretty good information. This might be something that Tim would want to look for the next newsletter too, because it could be updated and it talks about the schedule, time schedule, and which is some good interest. And that's, I think, enough out of me.
Start off with EMC, my first time there. Been to that building many times for similar type meetings with all those little different rooms. First, I went there on Sunday night, looked and found my way around, of course, tried to register, couldn't find a register place. Met up with my friend here in the morning, figured out where to register. Went to the new member, of course, the first thing was that morning, all the talks. I went to all the booths in the morning. That was interesting. Then we went to the talks, but then I went to the new members luncheon. That was interesting to me. That even met a kid from, I call him a kid. He was younger than I. Of course, I'm old, but he's a commissioner, a new commissioner too, from my hometown.
Oh.
And that was interesting to meet up with him. He just started. And then I learned that he's going to go to the new commissioners thing in January. I probably will go to a day or two of that, so I got to figure out how to register for that.
That's a good orientation.
Yeah, and that's the main thing they talked about in that thing. And I told my wife, I said, maybe I'll just go on for a day or two and see what it amounts to. But the biggest thing is to learn the how to get in and out of interviews, public interviews. That was one of the biggest things.
Oh, really?
That one of their topics was, public interviews. I would like to, when people corral you and ask you about political issues, how to get it. If somebody, a news media or something, they're gonna have a talk on that. I said, that'd be interesting to go to.
I think so.
And he said, she did say that you could get in on most of these online too. So, but maybe I'll go on in person. Happens to be over my birthday, and my wife, she likes to do stuff. That's my birthday, the day it's, but whatever. Birthdays are birthdays. Then I also after that, I went to the cannabis, and then I went to the veterans.
Yeah,
The veterans one. I'm telling you, I wanted to go to the veterans one, of course, because I'm a veteran, but that lady really she knew her stuff and how to deal with. She reminded me of Kurt. That's how good Kurt is. You really have to love what you do in order to take care of people. But her viewpoint was how you take care of them if they're incarcerated in the system. if they get arrested for a DUI or something. And that's the example she used, where these people, they just get down on their luck, they start losing things because they get arrested for either alcoholism or drugs or what have you, and then they start losing their house, their all their belongings, their family, and then how they can get back into it because they're not within their system. That's huge, and they drop through um
Cracks.
the cracks, and nobody's there to help them out. That's where he comes in, but they get lost because even law enforcement don't know that these folks can be helped, even though they still broke the law and all of that. That needs to be dealt with. They can be helped and rehabilitated maybe easier than the normal. So I thought that was a good one. And then Tri Valley was good. It was kind of a rapid meeting because there was a lot of folks who were at the EMC. But we did end up, there was a quorum so they could take care of things. But they went through things. The building across the road is finally, I think, totally taken care of. They got all the asbestos and everything is taken care of, I guess, and except for a little bit, so it's all turned over. They had to turn the heat on, and then they turned it over to the city, and the city now has it. There was a couple other little things, but nothing earth-shattering.
You say you were at the DNR, talked to some people with the Department of Natural Resources?
Oh, that was at I went to a thing before about the elk. It was up in northern
Okay.
Minnesota, and that was interesting because a lot of people, where was that? Their biggest thing was they were talking about the DNR. Was what program was that? You are absolutely right. What that was their biggest battle, was with the DNR. Huh. That was the first one I went to. Huh. That just slipped my mind. That was a good
But plenty of issues
shape.
with that
Yeah.
department.
But that was the one of
Yeah.
the DNR was a big shoot. I'll have to get my thing. I'll bring that again.
Yeah,
I'll remember that.
Do that. It's kind of interesting.
That was very interesting. You're right, because that was their biggest holdup was the DNR. It was always their blockade. That's interesting. I'll look that up. West Central meeting is coming up. I did get a call yesterday about constituent who was asking about, and this one is for you, Sam. Special agricultural homestead credit. He said, why this is what he asked me specifically. Why does the state or the county not tell us or advertise it that is something that farmers and that qualify for? And I couldn't give him a straightforward answer.
We send out applications every year. We do our best. If there's somebody who slips through,
Yeah,
we'd be happy to work with them.
his thing was how can we get it out to the public farmers better? That was all he asked, and I says I'll bring it up and see if there's a way we can do it better. I don't know what the correct answer is, but I told him I'd bring it up.
We can do that. We can put it out in more spots than it already is.
Yep, that's all I told him I will definitely bring it up. But you know what I'm talking about. I really didn't know a whole lot about it, other than what he was talking about. So that's that. Solid waste next Thursday.
I got a couple of things I
Wednesday.
forgot.
Yeah, Warren.
Wednesday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, the 18th. It is tomorrow, not the 29th. I wrote it down on the 29th. Yep, 18th. It's tomorrow. Yep, 18th.
Yesterday, I had a Northwest Regional Development Commission meeting in Warren. So I made use of that to go over and see, is it Justin Hillman? Anyway, at Marshall Polk, he's the administrator there. We had a conversation and I told him my position and the county's position as far as the map and all those borders and stuff. And he is very agreeable. He's not a Jerry Pribula. by any means. And Jerry, and we have a meeting with those people on Wednesday. Well, I have an MPO meeting in the first. That's my last day as the chair of that. Thank you. Anyway, and then at 1:30 we will go view the East Grand Forks water treatment facility. We toured the Grand Forks one on Monday. That's a $40-some million facility. It's really a big place.
So
Incidentally, their water supply is the Red Lake River. If you see some aerial pictures, you can see the dirt in the Red River separated from what comes out of the Red Lake. Red Lake is much cleaner, but they're like 90-some% of their water comes from the Red Lake River from Minnesota. They have to have a permit for that, and there's a limit to how much they can take. And I don't understand why they have a limit, because if whatever water you don't take, it just goes right down the river. It's not like you're stealing anything. Anyway, then tomorrow we will, after the East Grand Forks one, and at 3:00 we have a meeting over in our social service building over there.
It'll be in the room that you had said originally.
Okay, around the corner?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's with
That
Marshall
will-
Polk.
With Marshall Polk people, and their engineer will not be there, Fibula will not be there,
Okay.
and neither will Slick. It'll be commissioners and members of the committee, and we'll just talk, and I think it'll go well. I think it'll really go well. Okay, that's what
You're going.
I'll be there.
Do you want me to go or no?
If you want to,
What time is that?
be 3:00.
I gotta see what I'm doing. I'll do if I can. Where's that at?
East Grand Forks building, our building.
I don't know where that is. So you'll have to text
220 North. If you ever knew where Maury's TV and appliance was,
20 North.
that's the
You'll see
building.
it. It's
Man,
by Hugo's there on the east side.
Okay.
Just north of Dollar Store, whatever it's called.
not too far from McDonald's.
Yeah,
To the north, though, on 220 North.
north of McDonald's on 220.
Okay.
And it's back off the road a bit, so you have to look.
On the
It's
right hand side.
It's sitting off 300 feet or so off the road, so, but there's nothing but
Say
open
human services
parking
on it,
lot in front of it, so you can see
not to
it.
be mistaken with non-humans. Joan, you
County
had,
Human Services at 3.
There was another meeting that I went to, just kind of, getting information. There's this group, it's called Northern Counties Land Use Coordinating Board, but now they've changed it to Northern Counties Coalition. So it's kind of like the northern part, and then it kind of comes down like around St. Louis County and stuff. And, I mean, to me, it's kind of similar like to MRC, but, it like their, their issues are pretty similar to what we have. But I thought was interesting because they had like some discussion in regards to like wind and solar farms of, when they're taxed and when they are not taxed, and how, then a lot of times that the disposal ends up coming back onto the counties as an expense. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, we've gotten some solar panels that have popped up within the county, and what happens when they are no longer useful.
yeah, I just want to say thank you to 4 commissioners, 4 out of 5 to be at the conference in Minneapolis was excellent. An opportunity for us to learn about what the legislature is doing or not doing. And obviously, a lot of those decisions they make do influence our discussions here. So, very good with that. A lot of big attendance. I don't know what was.
I think it was 526 that were registered.
So that's good. A lot of vendors there.
Yep.
I picked up a lot of pens, so we'll fill our caddy here, get that squared away. But yeah, just quick rural counties. On Sunday evening, it was all about mandates, And what that's happening with our budgets here for over the next couple of years if everything follows through, if there aren't any changes. The cannabis is a mess. State's being sued because they offered licenses to individuals who were punished by cannabis usage, and individuals who didn't get a license didn't feel that's right, so they
701.
filed some lawsuits.
741.
Corrections, Warren talked about that,
4925.
and interesting, I didn't read the populations do vary a lot from year to year, season to season. That makes budgeting different. And obviously, the state does have some future financial issues with everything that they approved a couple of years ago. Extension, main thing, 2 new members are going to be coming on to that. I mentioned, I think, probably right after the state fair, that we had a grand champion down there with his turkey. That qualified him to go to the nationals in 4-H.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And I believe he ended up in the 4th or 6th.
Fourth
For him.
4th place. Can you imagine that?
for the barbecue competition.
So I've got his email. We're going to bring him in here at January, February. And
Mhm.
actually, at our extension meeting, he did.
He prepared the chicken
He
for our
prepared
lunch.
some roasted
Was
turkey.
that the
for
turkey
us.
that he?
Well, no, this was
No.
actually this was chicken that we had. It wasn't turkey that we had, but it was his barbecue recipe that he put together and competed with at the nationals on.
Hmm.
Because I think at state, I think he won first place for the barbecue competition, and that's how he got
Yes.
into the national.
Yep. So congratulations to them. They're doing very, very well. 170 participants in Polk County, 50 new 4-H members. You've got to bring in new people, and also you need to retain them. 77%, 2024. So those are really good numbers. Planning Commission, you've got a couple items that on the agenda coming up. Jacob will bring those, and corrections. But we need to move on, and I think Mr. Tadman is up next.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chef, how are you? Good. Staying out of trouble?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to-
Yeah, I'm trying to stay out of trouble.
Well, that's good.
It's Christmas time, you got to be good or else.
Santa's watching.
Yeah, yeah. So for the sheriff's report of November, we have the documented services. For November, we had 90 total that come through the sheriff's office with paid services of 3505.40, and then our no charge services was 2,550.70.
One moment.
Now you know I don't like it.
My thumb hit
What's
something and it decides it wants me
Um,
Sorry, Jim.
oh, I'm good.
You want this?
Yeah.
I mean, that little square's been.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. Then goes on to our transports for the month of November was our busiest we've had all year. It's a 2-pager, so I'm going to go right down to the end to show we had a total of 234 hours and 25 minutes of transport and a totals of 9,684.8 miles for transporting our prisoners throughout the state and picking up at other states.
A lot of federal miles.
Yeah, the biggest, I've seen that on the biggest one is our transport, that they've been coming through a lot. There's our 2023, but here's our 20, as a breakdown, we had 91 in medical facility. Mental health was 633, so that was very big for November, and then our in prison 2414, and then out of prison we had a couple long ones that we had to go get 3909, and then other counties throughout 273, and our medical was 108, and then again for our federal transport, which keeps us really busy, was 2,258, and again that takes 2 deputies to do each transport. So we work with them and try to make sure that people can come in. So total calls for our 911 dispatch for the month was we had 2,283 total calls, with 621 of them being emergency, and then our non-emergency was 1,662. And then there's just a breakdown on that. So our Polk County calls for service for the month. Looking at the first sheet, we had 3 assaults. Assist our other agencies is 18, and then our civil process 205. And just looking through here, we had disorderly conduct, and then we had our domestics. We had 4 total, and 2 being violent. And let's see here. For motorist assist, we had 19, and then our motor vehicle property damage accidents, we had 25, so that's way up, and that's because of our weather. It's hot and cold, and it gets icy and snow covered. So a lot of vehicles going off road. So public assist, we had 23. Reckless drivers had 9. Our school patrol, we had 87 for the month of November, and 1 reported sexual assault. Traffic stops for the month of November, we had 104, and then this is just covering our transports again. And then the last, which stands out, is our welfare checks. So a total of 715 total calls for service throughout the month of November. And that's all I have.
Okay.
You got your new guys, the new guy from Fertile going around the school at all? Going to the school, that new young kid?
Yeah, I mean, during their patrol shifts, they take either morning or afternoons. The night shifts, they're there, so they
I
all
just
take.
thought maybe it's always cool when these young kids, if other kids see them in the school, just have them walk through the school
Yeah,
at the
you
games
bet.
and stuff. If you can just encourage them to do that,
Okay, yep.
I like to see them do that. The kids, if there's a game or something going on.
Yep, we tell all of the deputies is the morning night, or go have lunch with them and spend time. And if there's a game going on, football, basketball, volleyball, to stop in, walk around, and say hi. And it's really welcomed by all the superintendents, so they really like that. So we encourage them to get out there, and
Especially when they're young.
especially when they're young and they just came out of high school.
Exactly. Some of them kids might recognize those kids.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
so no, we encourage them to do that. So
Okay, good.
yeah. So that's all I have. Any questions, concerns?
You getting any tips from those little visits around the school? Any tips of what's going on?
No, we haven't had too much. It's just that I think the biggest thing is that, when you walk in the schools, the kids aren't so scared of you. It seems like in the old days, it's, if you see a law enforcement officer, what mom and dad usually say, see that guy over there? If you're not good, he's going to come and throw you a bullet. So my big comment is when I hear that, I said, no, mom and dad are going first. So, but no, they encourage them, and you're getting high fives. So it's really nice to see. And then our deputies come back and talk about how nice it's been. So it's great communication throughout. So very nice.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Well, thank you
Yep.
very much.
Yep. Well, thank you for what you do, and Merry Christmas.
Have a nice Christmas. All right, Karen's got several items for us this morning.
I think we need to put a limit on it.
20, I believe, 20 items. All right, let's get started.
I need to approve, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting schedule.
All right, yeah, our
All
first
right,
one
we're
on
at
the
first one.
agenda is our social service board
Take a
meeting
look at
dates.
that.
Follows your county board meeting dates, and so I am looking at board approval of the 2025 social service board meeting dates.
And we have a motion from Warren. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Joan. Any additions, questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
I have an eligibility worker team leader replacement request due to a resignation. I'm looking at board approval to fill an eligibility worker team leader position and to fill any internal subsequent position vacancies occurring because of this action.
Who is that team leader?
Jacqueline Martin
Martin,
is the resignation we received.
Resigning or retiring or
Resigning.
resigning?
Yeah, she took a
Do-
telemedicine or telehealth, something.
Tell her.
Okay,
I move.
Is there a second?
second.
All right. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next.
We had a resignation in our social worker disability unit, so I'm looking for board approval to fill a social worker position and to fill any internal subsequent position vacancies occurring because of this action.
Who is this one?
Ember Dakota.
Been around a while?
Almost
7?
almost
6?
6 years, I want to say.
Okay, but she's going somewhere then,
Yes.
other than here.
Another telephone girl
Oh, okay.
with the state.
I'll make the motion.
I will second it. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next.
All right, I have a collaborative support services agreement with Aluma. This agreement is in the amount not to exceed $15,000 for 2025. The funding comes from the time study through corrections, public health, and the school districts. Polk County Social Services is the fiscal host, and Aluma provides the administrative oversight to the collaborative. So I'm looking at board approval of the 2025 agreement with Aluma to provide collaborative support services. Amount not to exceed 15,000.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Joan, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further questions, concerns? Karen did provide a handout prior this morning on that, so all that detail should be in front of you.
Oh, I sent that with
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
All right, we have a contract with Aluma to provide mental health and supportive services to Polk County residents. The services provided are primarily children's mental health services. And I'm looking at board approval of our 2025 contract with Aluma in the amount not to exceed $40,000 to provide mental health services and support. These funds are provided through our VCAA, Vulnerable Children and Adult Grant, which is 65% state funds and 35% federal funding.
Is there a motion to proceed?
I move.
And a second?
Second.
Second by Joan. Any further discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 6.
Through this grant. All right. The next contract is the approval of the Luma Crisis Services Grant. Polk County Social Services is the fiscal host from a grant that we received from the Department of Human Services Crisis Services. It's a 2-year state-funded contract that we get, and the Luma will be providing adult and children crisis response services to counties in our Region 8, to include Polk, Norman, Red Lake, Monoman, Marshall, Kitson, Roseau, and Pennington counties. So I'm looking at a request to approve the 2025 through 2026 Aluma Crisis Services contract. The amount Aluma is going to be receiving for 2025 is $1,432,605. The amount Aluma will be receiving through this grant for 2026 is $1,544,339.
We have a motion to proceed.
I'll make it.
Warren, is there a second? Is there a second?
Sure.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions? It's a big number.
Yes. Mhm.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 7, Department of Human Services.
This is our grant that we received from the Department of Human Services for our Region to Forget Adult Mental Health Initiative and Community Support Services. Both of those are services geared for adult mental health support to people in our community. The grant that is state funded for adult mental health initiative funds is in the amount of $2,922,596 for the year of 2025 through 2026. The amount for CSP dollars is in the amount of $431,080 in 2025 and $431,080 in 2026. So this grant is effective from, it's a 2-year grant, so it's effective from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026. So I'm looking at board approval of this grant for us to be the fiscal host.
I will move approval of that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Warren. Any other questions, concerns? Yeah, Paul?
These, when you start adding these all up, there's millions and millions of dollars here.
Yeah, I think that it is for the region. And when we look at the crisis grant statewide, legislators have statute to require mobile response to all counties in the state. And it's really, it looks like a lot of money, but it's not enough to cover the crisis services for the region. So it really limits us in what we can provide due to our geographic area and our response time that we have. We have adult mental health initiative meetings every 2 months, and I would certainly encourage you guys to participate. You can do it remotely. I can send you the link to that, and we talk about our work plan, and it has all the providers to be part of it. It's open to the public. Anybody can participate.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 8.
So the grant that we just approved from the Department of Human Services, we take those funds and we work with Aluma and Sanford to provide the direct services to the residents. So this next contract is the approval of the Aluma Adult Mental Health Initiative and Community Support Contract. It's the 2-year funds that we just accepted from the state. So the Adult Mental Health Initiative grant to Aluma will be $711,544 for the calendar year of 2025 and $718,536 for the calendar year of 2026. The Community Support Service contract that was part of that Department of Human Services contract approved is $431,080 for 2025 and $431,080 in 2026. So I'm looking at requesting board approval for Aluma to accept those funds to provide adult mental health services and community support program.
Sanford gonna get the same amount?
Sanford gets less amount. They have less counties that they serve, and we'll be going through their contract this morning.
All right.
So moved.
Thank you, Joan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Warren. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
wasn't in my order.
Is that number 9?
That is number 11.
Yeah, we're
11?
gonna have to skip to our contract that we have with Lutheran
Right.
Social Services.
Okay.
So Lutheran Social Services provides our semi-independent living skill services to people who have a diagnosis of a developmental disability or a related condition. This is a contract that we've had for several years. I'm looking at approval of the contract with Lutheran Social Services to provide semi-independent living skills in the amount not to exceed $25,000 in the calendar year of 2025. These are state funds that we get from a grant, 85%, and 15% is a county match.
Well, that's a little unreasonable. I move.
I will second that. Any further questions?
So how much reporting needs to be done on these grants? I mean, how much time does it take to report?
The grants that we get from the Department of Human Services are very, very time consuming. It takes a lot of time from myself in accounting, and we do get an administrative fee to cover that.
Yeah.
That covers for our time. The smaller ones, like this one, we don't get any administrative fee, and it's really, the social workers work one-on-one with the people that they serve, and then enter in service agreements. So it's not as much time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The bigger grants are very time consuming.
Yeah, and that's the downfall that there's so much other time other than actually serving.
Yeah. This next contract that we have, we talked about at our social service board. It's a transportation service contract that we have entering in with North Star Mobility.
Did we vote on that Lutheran one, Sam?
I don't know.
I think we need to.
There was a motion and a second. I didn't hear a vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in
So any
favor?
other-
Thank you.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, now which one do you want to go to?
On the board is our North Star Mobility contract.
That's number 12. Okay.
It is a non-emergency medical transportation service to residents of Polk County and medical assistance fee for services. So I'd like to request board approval of the contract with North Star Mobility to provide these services for transportation during the calendar year of 2025.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So move.
Thank you, Warren. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is our contract we have for personal money management. It's a service that's provided to people to help with their functioning of their financial situation. The amount of their rate is $55. That rate is set by Social Security. The total amount that we're looking in this contract is $15,000. So I'm looking for board approval of the 2025 contract with personal money management for $15,000.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
Joan. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second, Warren. Any questions?
Who benefits from? Anybody can ask for this help.
No, they need to be working with social
Right,
services.
that's what I mean. Anybody within the social services system?
We have about 10 people right now
Okay.
that are recipients of this service.
Mhm.
So they need to meet some eligibility requirements.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Do you know offhand, like, what the average time period that a client would need assistance?
When I've looked at the people accessing the services, it's long-term because of their disability.
Okay.
Years ago, social services used to do it ourselves, and it was just too time-consuming, and so we contract out with that service now, and we use grant funds to cover the cost.
Okay.
Anything else? We do have a motion and a second, correct? If, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
All right, the next contract we have is with a provider through REM. We went through Lutheran Social Services. It's the same type of service. We have two different providers in the community. One is Lutheran Social Services, one is REM. They provide semi-independent living skills to people diagnosed with a developmental disability or a related condition. The contract that we have with REM is in the amount of $104,000 for the calendar year of 2025. Again, these are 85% state funds and 15% county matched funds.
I will move approval. Is there a second?
One second.
By Paul. Any questions?
So, I mean, there's criteria that they have to meet in order to get funding, correct?
Yep, again, eligibility requirements, and I can bring both of those to the Social Service Board, and so you can have a better idea.
Just so there's, I mean, it's just nice to know that there's a criteria that they have to meet.
Yeah, because I know in the days they were having some issues. And just, it'd be nice to kind of see what they have to, what they're.
Yeah, I'll have them
required.
come to our January Social Service Board, and we can talk more in detail about the contract.
Okay, sounds good.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries.
Next on the agenda is the contract we have with Sanford to provide crisis services. So Polk County Social Services is the fiscal host of the Department of Human Services Crisis Service Contract. It's a 2-year state-funded contract, and Sanford is one of the recipients of those. So in 2025, they'll receive $853,752,000. In calendar year 2026, they'll receive $919,374. So I'm looking at board approval to approve those state-funded mental health mobile crisis services.
It's strictly a state funded.
Yep, they have to submit a work plan and a budget that becomes part of this that we discuss at the Adult Mental Health Initiative meetings. And it's part of the contract.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So move.
Lauren, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joan.
I mean, that's 1.5 mil.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next.
Next on the screen is the contract we have with Tri-County Community Corrections to provide residential services to adolescents. It's a contract that we've had for several years. There's no rate change to member counties. You'll see on the cover sheet that it remains at $139 a day. They also provide secure detention placement that's at no cost to social services. The non-member rates have changed. The program rates are $380 a day. Secure eval, non-secure eval is $405 a day. They changed the non-secure secure detention hold to $380 a day, and the secure detention for non-member is $405 a day. So I'm looking at board approval of the 2025 contract with Tri-County Community Corrections for child residential services.
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions for Karen? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
All right, the other contract that we have with Tri-County Community Corrections is for their transitions program. This has been a contract that we have had for several years. It is to provide services to youth who are at risk, are living in the community, not in residential care. Their rate has not changed in the years that we've had this contract. They bill us for $21 client a day. So we're looking I'm looking at board approval of the 2025 contract with Tri-County Corrections for the transitions program not to exceed $80,000. This is funding that we use that is through our VCAA funding to pay for this contract. It's Vulnerable Children and Adults Grant, 65% state funding, 35% federal funding.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So move.
Second.
I have a question. On this particular one, you budget for $80,000,
Not to exceed 80,000.
not to exceed. And if it's less, then obviously that may be in their prior discussion where some excess reserve dollars are possibly generated.
So the funding comes through our VCA grant, and the total amount of that grant that we get is $808,425. So with that, the purpose of those funds is to serve the vulnerable adults and children in the community. So we use those funds in a variety of different ways. If
Okay.
they don't use if we don't use the full amount of that contract, we are able to use it internally to cover some of our costs from our case management that we provide to those vulnerable people in the community. And so we monitor that as the year goes. The contract that we have is at 80,000. We've had that for several years. Transitions has had some staffing issues, and so they've only had one staff in that program. So we did see a decrease in that in the last few years, but I keep it at that. And as we didn't look at the out-of-home placement report today at our social service board meeting, but the placements through corrections is starting to increase. And so we really want to target those families and provide services before they end up in residential care. And this is one of the services that we have to do that.
No, I think it's a good service. I was just kind of
Yep.
curious how that affects your budget. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, the next contract that we have, we discussed at our social service board meeting, and it's similar to the contract that we approved with North Star Mobility. This is a contract, wow, excuse me, contract we have with Tri-Valley Opportunity Council to provide non-emergency medical transportation services to residents of Polk County and medical assistance fee for services. So I'm looking at board approval of the contract with Tri-Valley Opportunity Council for the calendar year of 2025.
I move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
The next contract we have is Tri-Valley Opportunity Council Senior Companion Contract. This is a contract that we have had with Tri-Valley over the years to provide senior companion programs. They are difficulty finding people to provide this service. Molly Paulsrud, the supervisor that supervises our long-term care program, was telling me this morning that there might be a rate change to help cover what we've used in county dollars. So I'm going to put a hold on this contract until we can look at that further and have some discussion with Tri-Valley.
Okay, we'll pull that. Next.
All right, this contract is with Village Family Service Center. We have a contract with the Village Family Service Center based out of Grand Forks to provide family assessment and family group decision-making to children and families in the amount of $40,000. This is a contract that we've had for several years, primarily to provide in-home intensive family therapy skills to families where their children are at risk of placement or have significant behavioral needs. And because of staffing purposes, they're not able to contract with us for intensive in-home services. So we've modified this contract to provide family group decision-making and the family assessment services. So that decreases the amount of services that we have for children and families in the community. But we are pleased to be able to proceed a contract with them to provide a 30-day family assessment to help us assess what's going on in the home, and then also to provide family group decision making. So I'm looking at a request to provide 2025 contract with the Village Family Service Center to provide the family assessment in the family group decision making not to exceed $40,000. And again, these are funds through our BCAA grant through state and federal funding to cover this service.
So move.
Is there a second? I will second that. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
That do it for the year?
You're missing two.
Nope, there's two of them that.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
didn't
they're-
get on the screen, but I have them in front of me. So if that's all right, I can.
Let's do
proceed.
that.
They're in the packet, so.
Yeah,
All right, so the first one is our contract that we have with Department of Human Services for crisis services. This is our large contract that we have that we provide the fiscal host to for the region, and then we contract with Sanford and Aluma to provide those services. So this contract that we have with Department of Human Services is not to exceed $4,750,070 for the period of January 2025 through December 31st, 2026.
do you have that one, Sam?
Yes, I do.
You're fine. Is there a motion to proceed?
I'll make it.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions?
This one is state and federal as well.
This is just state funding for the mobile mental health mobile crisis service.
This is for Sanford.
This is our large grant that we get from the Department of Human Services. They
Oh,
contract,
that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. I got it wrote under the wrong one.
they contract directly with us, and then as a fiscal host, we
Okay.
contract with Sanford and Aluma.
I see.
There's also some money in there for mobile crisis services that we utilize with our law enforcement when they do a transport for a mental health
Sure.
crisis.
Mhm,
The law enforcement seeks reimbursement from this grant. So there's some funding just in general for the mobile response crisis services.
We do have a motion.
Mhm.
Second. Questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
All right, the final agenda item that I have is a grant, or it's a contract that we have with Sanford Health to provide adult mental health initiative and their community support services. This is a grant that we received from the Department of Human Services that we just approved earlier. It's a 2-year state-funded contract. Sanford Health will provide those adult mental health initiative services. Their portion of the grant is $336,073 for calendar year 2025 and $336,073 for calendar year 2026. So I'm looking at board approval for our contract with Sanford Health to provide those services through the Adult Mental Health Initiative contract.
Is there a motion to proceed?
Hello.
I will second. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
All right, thanks for your time.
We're done for the year.
Yes.
I'm gonna have a great Christmas. Richard's up next.
He's only got 8 items.
I told him if he can't spend as much as she did.
Oh, there's one for each of you over there. Mr. Holmes. I'm assuming he wants a copy.
We'll add it to the online packet.
Oh, good morning.
Or then,
Oh, let's see. So the first thing we have is our 2025 diesel fuel quotes. So we sent out quotes and received them back on Wednesday, December 11th by 4:30. If you look at the abstract, the lowest responsible quote is Fertile Oil at $223 for the first quarter, $229 for the second quarter, and $229 for the third quarter, and $229 for the fourth quarter, for a total of $136,500. So I need approval to award the quote to Fertile Oil.
we have a motion to proceed by Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Warren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
So that's about 27 cents a gallon less than last year. So it's more equivalent to the 2022 diesel fuel quotes we got, just so you know. Angus Township expenses. As most of you know, we built a roundabout, and as part of the discussion before the construction began, we told Angus Township and other townships that due to extra traffic, if they had to do extra blading or add gravel to restore the roadways back to pre-construction conditions, that we would work with them and make them whole. And so Angus Township supplied me with all their contractor invoices showing their extra cost for both blading and gravel, and the total amount came to $21,620 for the year. So I need approval to pay Angus Township $21,620 for the extra costs associated with the roundabout construction, so we can get them a check.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to proceed. Any specific questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Next, we have the bridge on CASA 6 north of Trunk Highway 92 that was found to have a beam that was defective, and we had to actually barricade off part of the northbound lane this fall, and so we need to get that bridge replaced so we can open it back up to full traffic, and it's currently restricted because of that. And so we need to hire a consultant to do the bridge design, and Whitseth is who we typically deal with. And so we got a quote from Whitseth to replace not only to do the bridge plans, not only for our bridge, but for the bridge 2 miles downstream for Chester Township. So I need approval to contract with Whitseth for the design services for both bridges.
For the sake of somebody who don't know where CASA 6 is, could you tell me where it is?
West of Trail,
Oh, okay.
and it runs north from Foston. Well, it actually runs north from the South County line all the way up to the Red County line, and then along the Red Lake County line,
Oh, I know.
about 2 miles west of Trail.
All right, I got
So
it.
this bridge is about 5 miles northwest of Trail.
Okay, got it.
Was this discovered by the contract that we had with drones to go underneath and checking?
The AI, both AI picked it up and we picked it up as part of our normal inspection. We saw that it was starting.
Okay.
What really set the ball in motion was because of it, we had to have it reanalyzed for its how much weight it can carry.
and the consultant that did the analysis stated that it has to be posted and stated what we need to do. So because of what we ended up doing, closing off part of the lane and posting the bridge is now eligible for replacement, and therefore we would like to fast track it. And so this is one way to get this one replaced. And since we're replacing ours, I talked to Chester Township because there's 3 miles downstream is eligible for replacement as well. So we're going to do both of them in one contract.
Well, that's smart.
Do we need a motion to proceed?
So moved.
John, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Paul.
And then with
Comments? Go ahead, Joan.
Detour going over that this summer too, I suppose. I mean, you'd found it before the detour was in place, or?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Next, we're working on the design and construction of CASA 61 from Trunk Highway 2 here in Crookston and west past the golf course and out to Trunk Highway 75. So we want to reconstruct out past the golf course in an urban section, curb and gutter, storm sewer, bike path along the north side, lighting along the north side. We don't have the ability to design that structure or that roadway section. And Woodseth did the design from North Broadway out to the east limits of Crookston, which will be the same exact design as west. And so it makes sense to have them do this since they've already done it once. And so I need a motion to approve contracting with Woodseth for the CASA 61 design.
Is there a motion to proceed?
I'll make it.
Warren, I will second. Questions, comments? Additional information provided there.
No. So it's gonna look the same going the other way, more than likely.
Yes. So yeah, well, the only difference is I don't think we'll have a center left turn lane for the entire route. We'll have to look at how many turning movements in and out of the golf course there is, but typically we don't provide center left turns for private driveways.
Sure.
So it may just be the same exact section that is currently east of Trunk Highway 2, which is just the 40-foot between the curb and gutter. But we will have the 5-foot berm and then a 10-foot bike path / pedestrian path out to the west limits of Crookston, so that if the Crookston or if anybody else wants to tie in a bike path, we've already constructed that. And then we'll light that stretch because right now it's dark at night. And
It's along the driving range.
Yeah. So that will help with knowing that you're coming into town at night. Will also slow down traffic because it's a 40-mile-an-hour stretch. And so it has a lot of safety benefits, not only when it's lit, but when it's not lit. So.
Do we have a motion to proceed?
I'll move.
And second. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next, the resolution for 2025. You guys have our priority list. You guys do this every year, if not multiple times, when we add bridges on that we need to get moving on. And so it's just the list of bridges that are deficient and can be replaced within Polk County. And so I need a motion to approve resolution 2024-83.
Is there a motion to proceed? Is
I'll make it.
there a second?
Second.
And we will second. Any questions on the list? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
Next, we're in the process of applying for a active transportation grant through the MnDOT for a multi-use trail or walking / biking trail along CASA 12 from Maple Bay up to the pavilion. I've been working with the Maple Lake Association for at least 2 or 3 years trying to figure out how to provide paths along Maple Lake. And this is the stretch that we feel needs to be the first chunk completed so that we can then work on other areas around the lake. And so the grant deadline is the end of January. This resolution basically states that Polk County, if they receive the grant, has the money available to pay for anything in excess of the grant and maintain the structure. And so between us and the Maple Lake Association, we'll work out a way to maintain it after it's constructed. And so I need approval for Resolution 2024-84 supporting the County State Highway 12 multi-use trail project and application.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion carried.
Next, we have our safety compliance service contract we do every year. For 2025, the cost is $19,200 or $1,600 per month. So I need a motion to approve contracting the safety compliance services and allow myself to sign the agreement.
Is there a motion to proceed?
I'll make it.
You've had the same.
Yes.
Warren, is there a second?
Second.
Questions?
You've had the same guy, right? Same group.
It's the same gal every year for the last 30 years. So
How does this,
she does an awesome job, and
how's it compared to last year's cost?
it's up like $250 a month. Nothing.
Oh, it's still,
Because it went up the last year too, I think. It was my first year from what I remember. It
Yeah,
went up a little
just
bit.
it goes up like $200 a year at the most.
Yeah.
So it's very for what we get out of her services. It's well worth it. So
she does a good job.
Good. No further questions. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion carried.
next we have the weather forecasting system. So we have a contract that Polk County is the lead agency on with 20 counties for monthly, for yearly weather forecasting, and it's very beneficial. It's helped us out quite a bit, has changed the way we've done snow plowing and such during weather events. And so I need approval to pay DTN the $70,560 or $3,528 per county. So that's what our share is going to be, so that we can turn around and bill the other 19 counties for their portion.
How far out this?
Is there a motion to proceed?
Yeah. I move.
Okay. Adam,
I'll second.
Second by Warren. Go ahead. Get a
Is this all the 20 counties up north here?
No, it's
throughout the
very
state.
few of them up north. It's a lot of them from here and south.
Oh, really?
Yep. I can get you the list.
No,
Well, the
no.
list is right.
Should include it on there.
The list is right here. So you have
Oh, I see 'em.
Polk, Beltrami, Anoka, Roseau, Murray, Chisago,
Oh, they're all
Douglas,
over the
Freeborn, Morrison,
place.
St. Louis, Washington, Rice, Ottertail,
Right.
Ramsey, Carver, Nicollet, Crow Wing, Stearns, Chippewa, and Wright.
They're all
So,
spread
More
out.
of that
yes.
central.
is this the service that gets you little bulletins on what's going on your
Yep.
cell phone when it gets?
I can get onto the internet or through my cell phone, and basically I can look at forecasted precip, forecasted winds, and between me and Randy, if we see, so where it really benefits us is during blizzards
Okay.
or when we think of blizzards coming in, because I can see how the winds are looking to the west of us, and it predicts when the winds are going to be certain for Polk. And so we can make more educated decisions on when the plows should be pulled because they're going to get stuck out there in a whiteout condition, or when the winds die down enough that we can go out. And so in the past, before we had this service, we were always looking at going out at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. But the winds may die at 11 o'clock at night the previous night. And so this service, because we know that, we've actually sent people out at midnight so that we're totally done by the time traffic has to be there on it at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And we've had a lot of good comments about just that little bit of change. And so the $3,000 that we're spending on a yearly service is well worth it.
Yeah, I could drive from here to Minneapolis and know the weather.
Yeah. So
Well, we do have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed, motion carried.
thank you very much. I think that's it.
One more. At AMC, one of the breakout sessions we did was on.
Oh, is it? Oh,
My one,
Yep.
my one question is, those corner posts, do they correspond one county to another? Or not?
Chuck
Yep.
tell you to say that?
So what's in Marshall, one Polk,
The rest is.
correspond to Marshall.
Yep, and Marshall to, and us to Red Lake, and us to Pennington, and us to Clearwater, and us to Mahoma, and us to Marshall.
As long as you want.
Well, what do you mean?
Power county.
I'm gonna fly through this.
So when the
More than-
corners were originally put in 1800 and
Yeah.
50,
What time you wanna be out of here?
they were all surveyed in, and they were all.
5 minutes.
So that's what- all we're doing is replacing
Try.
those.
I know that's not even.
So yeah.
It could be.
There is some connection.
Yeah.
Ramsey County or-
All of Minnesota was done at one.
Oh, yeah, I was just, I'm quiet.
It's quite a
Try to
dive.
stay in my lane.
Well, can you imagine with pulling a steel chain and a transit across all the swamps and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Are we on schedule?
Here we are, 11 o'clock, and Jake is here.
We'll drag it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Rich, and your family.
Not that I'll call you very often, but
Son-in-law
call
sat
me.
in my
You have
chair,
mine, right?
decided he likes it, so I'm like,
So,
all right.
I think so.
I mean, if you have
Yeah, I
issues,
came in here, they were all over.
available
I
24/7.
know, yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
I know, my girlfriend, she said,
I'll just call you.
Hey, I get calls at 9 o'clock at night, I get calls at 7 o'clock in the morning, so.
well, I mean, I try to keep it within business hours.
Yes.
That's
So-
that.
Packers
So-
are doing well.
Yeah, you know.
I
It
mean,
is what it is until.
I'll just say this now. I hope
That's right,
when
3 to go.
when I go home later this afternoon, that I'm
Hi,
not
Jake.
driving on clear ice.
Oh, it's been a wonderful morning.
Not fun this morning.
We've
Oh, you're
taken,
gonna pass them?
I was.
we've taken care of a lot of business.
I know.
We can either jack the buck, we can either double the budget and pay the sand and salt for everywhere, and then have to deal with it, or we can stay with our current policies and traffic and temperatures and scraping. and
Okay,
don't get the
so
extra-
a question on that.
Yes.
Not this past Friday, but 2 Fridays ago, I went to Fertile.
Are you sure you don't
one.
want me just to?
And
walk
from
around the
where, so headed west, from where the power substation is there, all the way to Fertile, the eastbound lane
All right.
was sanded the whole
That's the first
way.
one. Reed subdivision is the first one.
Okay.
So I just thought that was interesting.
Yes.
But just, yeah, the whole way, but just the eastbound lane.
It's surprising that they would have put, they were supposed to when we get an ice event, then they'll trickle sand just to help the ice start to get cut, sand and salt. But we never do full laying the whole way.
No,
So
yeah,
it was either putting too much down or
not realizing
not
it was,
educated enough.
yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
yes, hills, curves, and intersections.
Mm-hmm.
So that stretch has a lot of hills and curves, but not,
No, not,
not as many as others. So.
no, so, but yeah, it was just definitely in the one lane, not center, but yeah. So, yeah.
Next time.
All right, Jake, I think you're up next.
All right, morning, everyone. I'll get after it. Got a lot of action items here. First action item I have is Polk County haulers licenses for 2025. So area waste haulers in Polk County and surrounding counties, anyone that uses the facilities, the incinerator, the landfill, as well as the transfer station here in Crookston, needs to obtain a hauler's license. In front of you is an updated spreadsheet as of 9 a.m. this morning. Looking at 18 haulers as of today, still pending about four or five licenses, applications, I should say. And so those ones on the list, I have 18 to get signed today. The other ones I will get. Just looking for kind of preliminary approval on them. Once we get everything submitted, I will get the board chair's signature on their application, because solid waste administrator as well as the county board chair will sign the application. So they get stickers sent out to them, know they're licensed and can use the facility. Any of those that weren't getting licensed today, signed off on, I should say today, there will be a $10 late fee per day until we get everything we need from them. So looking for motion to approve 2025 Polk County haulers licenses for 18 on your list today, and then motion to approve those that we're still waiting on, some incomplete applications. Two motions, yes, please.
I'll make one of them.
You're gonna do the one for the 18, is that right? Is that what you said, Jake?
Yes, I have 18 applications that I'll need your signature on, Commissioner Wilhite, after I'm done.
Warren is
I'll second.
proceeded that. Jonah seconded. You have that information. Any other questions for Jake? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Motion carries. Okay, and there were additional 4 that you wanted to do a conditional.
For the rest of them that are outstanding.
Correct. Yeah.
Almost.
There's about 4 or 5 that are still. They've called. They've been. The
So
mail
Paul
is-
has moved that we proceed with that. And is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Warren. Is there a deadline date for those?
We just run it as $10 per day until they get it in.
we go.
There are some actions we can take if we know
Oh, that's
that
fine.
they're hauling and they're not licensed. We try to work with them. They're ones that have been licensed in the past too. One's a fairly new hauler. So he thought, well, it's a year when they apply and get it.
Sure.
It's not. It's an annual, year to year.
So he's
license.
learning. He's
So,
playing
yes.
the learning curve.
We're teaching at the same time.
Right on.
With the fee.
With some pain, yes.
With the $10 pain.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second.
Just one question. I mean, this is
Go ahead,
on
Joan.
the list. Like, I see like for some of these, like the vehicle safety expiration dates are,
All over the board.
well, yeah, but like I see some of these that are like, this month. So do you go back and check them, or?
Yeah, so they need to submit new ones
Okay.
when those ones would expire. Probably the ones you're looking at are some that have made arrangements with us that they are scheduled to do those, and then once they get them, they'll just email them over to me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's something new that we really are trying to track a lot more, is that they have up-to-date vehicle inspections. Obviously, it's more on them, the license hauler. If they would get DOT'd, hauling something, it wouldn't be that Polk County gets ticketed. But it is something that we want to keep
Yeah.
up with. We want them to have trucks that are
Safe.
Yeah.
on the road, over the road, that are safe. So,
Okay.
Okay, I think we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
okay, next two action items I have will go fairly smoothly. Have some appointments to our board. First one that I have in front of the board today is appointment of Wolfie Clark to be appointed to the Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustment for a 3-year term. He will be representing Commissioner Reese in District 1. I did have a conversation with Wolfie. He has yet to submit the paperwork to get things rolling, to get him paid, that type of thing, reimbursement stuff. But we should be meeting here in the next few weeks or early into 2025. So I did let him know when we would be sending out the packet for our January 24th meeting. Because we already know we'll have a meeting then to go over a few things. So
Is that how you pronounce the wolf
Yep,
or
Wolf.
Wolfie?
Wolfie.
So who is he replacing?
Dirty.
Yep.
Okay.
Christy Jerry on the board, which was a carryover from Jerry Jacobson. Had appointed Christy to our board, and she did a great job for our board, and commend Christy on serving. And then, of course, she just kept serving for District 1 until a replacement could be found. So,
Good. Is there a motion to proceed with Mr. Clark?
So move.
I will second that. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Clark.
he stuck with me for 3 years.
Could be worse.
Well,
Could be four.
Depends on the day.
I warned him.
Depends on the day. So our next one is a reappointment of Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment member, Mr. Richard Kuzel. Richard's been on the board for 3 years now, representing Mark Holey out of District 5. I did have a conversation with Richard. He is willing to serve another 3-year term. He did make the comment that he is no longer going to be representing the township, and I had reminded him, you're on the board for Commissioner Holey, and it doesn't matter that you're stepping down from your township duties up in Tabor Township. So looking for a motion to reappoint Richard Kuzel to the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment for the Polk County Environmental Services Department, representing Commissioner Holey, District 5.
I move.
Yep, we'll both move.
We have a motion and a second by Warren and Paul. Any other concerns? Certainly does a fine job. If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, moving right along, the next action item I have is planning and zoning some changes to our fee schedule for 2025, looking to make these effective January 1st of 2025 here. So just looking at making a couple of minor changes. Those changes are highlighted in red here on the fee schedule. So originally in our fee schedule, we didn't have a lot of clarity on structural change of uses. So what we're looking at, and what I mean by that, is a shed turning into a dwelling, or they make comments sometimes pulling permits that we're going to stub it out, be it. I'm not talking about really in the shoreland district anymore, out in the ag district. We're going to stub this out, possibility, my son would move back to the area, or something would happen where we would make it into a house. So we didn't really have a fee schedule for that. We've been running it through an alteration in our current fee schedule, which to kind of stay in line with our fees for dwellings. Typically, we permit those structures as accessory structure. They're typically over 800 square feet in size. To match having a dwelling permit, we came up with doing a change of use permit to $100. Obviously, that would only be applicable if they were able to construct that on that lot. It wouldn't be like you can just out of a whim change sheds to dwellings all over the place. It would be a case by case thing, but add that into our fee schedule so it's not so gray or vague. The other change we're looking at is we've had this in our fee schedule for quite some time now, for almost 10 years, it always was grouped under septic systems for additional site visits because that was the majority of when we were needing to go out multiple times, be it to re-verify soils, be it that the system location changed or something had changed with even us requesting a change to verify those changes were made. We had that as a $50 fee for an additional site visit. I wanted to add that in for any reason if we're going out to a site, be it that they didn't stake it, if it was unclear on where the project was going, really anything to assess a $50 additional permit fee to do that. So when you apply for a permit, it's clearly there's a waiver in the inside. Please stake it. Please indicate something. I mean, we're not really picky. We're not talking about there's one stake on the site. We need all 4 out there. We're just talking, give us an idea. Where is this going? A lot of it is a proximity off a highway or something we really need to verify. So to add that into our fee schedule to any additional site visit would be a $50 fee. And so I just kind of spelled out to the change of use and what that means. Change to a structure's function, and then it must be allowable in that zoning district. So questions or anything about those fee schedule changes? This is something we went over at our public hearing 2 Fridays ago at the Planning Commission. They recommended that the board proceed with changes in those. Was a little discussion about trying to recoup all our zoning department costs, but that would take this table and add 10 times to every fee schedule. So we're not going there.
Correct. I would move we would approve the recommendation.
That was the motion?
That's the motion.
I'll second.
Well, right there. Do you have one prepared on there, Jake?
What was that?
Yeah,
Do you have a motion?
right there.
Going to move it down?
Yep.
To schedule.
Motion to change that fee schedule to what was attached, adding those 2 items.
Right. Is there a second?
Yep, Warren did.
And second by Warren. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, a couple of planning and zoning action items here. First one is a preliminary plat approval for first re-subdivision of Northern Lights addition. So in 1999, this Northern Lights addition was platted. It was a plat in section 21 and 28 Canute Township. It is along both our agricultural and shoreland zoning district. The shoreland district's created by Bradley Lake, so it's on the north side of that lake, just east of Lake Sarah. The applicant's proposing to replat 8 lots from that existing Northern Lights subdivision. Really, the plat and the re-subdivision involves the movement of road right-of-ways, the elimination of one road right-of-way, and then to take those lots as developed and reconfigure the 3 that were along Bradley Lake there. There was an access point to Bradley Lake that was in the 1999 plat that was approved. I'll go over the maps here in a second, but it would be to totally eliminate that right of way that isn't an access point. There is no public access on Bradley Lake, never was, and isn't planned to be. So that roadway really would need to get abandoned completely in order to split the 3 into, well, 3 again. So don't know what, and really the 99 process, what that was. I can just project that it was for the back lots or the lots that would be homes for them to have an access point to Bradley Lake. You know, the roadway in this really just got constructed outside the road right away of that 99 plat. That was really the driver in replatting this. I'll go over the map. It's just kind of vague, just talking about these things. And this is a really good map to show you how this exists right now. The dark blue lines are the lots currently. This light blue area is where that road right away would get changed to for 216th Avenue, which is a township road that leads up to 4 additional homes to the north. And so
So it's an existing road.
correct. It's an existing road that got placed onto the parcel that has the church, St. Nicolai Church, and then the church also owns this parcel as well. So in 99, the road got built to the east of the intended, east of where the right-of-way is. You can see the right-of-way was straight north and south. This is that access point to Bradley Lake that was in that 99 plat, which would subsequently be divided to, this triangle to this lot, this triangle over to this lot. And these are getting reconfigured to actually get split a little bit differently.
Okay. Somewhat complicated.
Somewhat complicated in the sense that
They're working it out.
they really need to do the paperwork and the approval processes through the township, because we don't have any control over those road right-of-ways as they exist right now. They have been working with Canute Township. Canute Township has noticed this out in 3 consecutive weeks. They're looking at making action on this next week, that they're going to be having a meeting where they're going to abandon these right-of-ways. This is really, and I'll go to the plat because this is really going to shed some light on how these front lots will look. This was the old plat. I apologize. It's really misconstrued here because north is to your left. There's a lot of dotted lines, but in front of you, there is the plat. These dotted lines disregard. Those are how the lot is right now as it exists. The front lot parcel for this existing homestead, this would be the east line here. That would meander over a shed that exists with that parcel. And then this would be lot. It would be 3 lots. It is currently 4 parcels actually getting condensed into 3 lots. 2 undeveloped currently, and then the 1 would be retaining this homestead and this large accessory building. Moving north of that, the right-of-way would now follow the roadway to 16th. The church would lose some acreage. This would get quitclaim deeded over to this parcel here, which would then get subsequently subdivided into 2 instead of 1. And these parcels would subsequently eat the acreage of old right-of-way. And this also, the church parcel up here, would lose a little bit of acreage up there with the road right-of-way getting moved to the east. So really a long version of trying to clean up road right-of-way in a different location. So how this was kind of teed up, and these are kind of some of the pictures. This is that roadway 216th as it exists now. I just took some images from Google Earth so that it wasn't just a white blanket out there. This is the existing church located north of Bradley Lake there. This is the homestead that is on the lot. I can tell you.
South there.
This is right north of Bradley, the existing home on, I believe it's lot B, block 2. Yes, lot B, block 2.
Okay.
And this is that empty lot. Lot A there on block 2. And this is looking at the front lots now. This is an existing access into the existing home on lot C of block 1. This would be the driveway then for lot B, block 1. This is lot A, block 1. The westernmost lot there. So recapping, this is that lot A, block 1. Lot 2, block 1 is right next to it. And then lot 3 is this encompassing all the existing buildings.
Doesn't look like those two right-of-ways line up. They don't, where they meet, one is offset to the,
Well, then the one right away will not exist after the plat is finalized. That right away along the lake will go away. This is probably the best image of what the swap is for right of ways. I kind of drew this out.
Oh, I see.
Existing right of ways are the solid
Solid line,
lines.
except for the one on the right there, the far one.
Correct. And those are where they're going. The arrows indicate where those right of ways would go.
So what started this process? I mean, what was the initial point of?
Well, we've had several conversations with the Kutzefs over the years, and this has kind of been through permitting process that, hey, this is something that we need to look at.
Okay.
Where it kind of started well, Stepan Kutzef is the one that finally did the action of replatting. And it's a family, you know, his sons live up here and daughters and things. And so through the family, they've had discussion on how to best fit this in where we can sell properties and not have these issues. He's looking at actually building a new home within this, and so they wanted to clean things up.
Okay.
This would ultimately, this parcel right here as it exists today
Mm-hmm.
is short of being able to fit in one more home along there.
Oh.
So that was a conversation we had in the spring with one of his relatives. I believe it's his brother. And we said, well, you know, the road is here and the church has this. There's some issues going on here. If you all get together and we can replat this whole thing, we can solve your problem, Stepan's problem, and some other ones to make sure that you're not going to have issues with selling or mortgage lending or anything down the road.
Okay.
And so this is kind of the fruition of something that was started in the spring. Let's clean this thing up, you know.
Okay.
So the church is gonna have one lot, combining the two, or
Nope, the church will remain two parcels.
Okay.
They'll both be still developable parcels. Obviously, the church has nothing else they want to add to their parcel.
what about on the other side?
The other side, this would actually get to be two parcels instead of one now through that plat. If you look at the plat in front of you, that is block 2, A and B.
What about the D part? That's
D
a
part
separate-
above it,
Yeah.
that is going to be one parcel.
Mm-hmm.
So one parcel without a gap in the road there to get
I
to.
got it. Okay.
And so that's really what we have as far as a condition goes, is that, you know, we'll recommend this as preliminary plat approval as long as block 2 lot D you're talking about gets added into that lot C, so we don't have two properties sitting
Right.
there. We want to clean up as much of this as we can.
Mhm.
And so lot D and C are going to be one parcel. They should go into existing parcel
A and B will be one.
45509. A and B on block 2
Yep.
can be independently developable parcels.
But
So
the-
as it sits in front of you, that plat map, they would be two developable parcels. One has an existing home, the other one would be then developable for another home.
it would be big enough for another
Correct.
home then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And then block 1, A and B are golden,
Yes.
and then block
Block 1C is that existing homestead with the large accessory building, which would be,
and then the line goes all the way over to block 2, government lot 1. That line. That solid line. So block C, it goes all the way to that line.
does the
All the
church,
way.
No, he's on the other side.
I'm
of
bringing
the
to
road.
the plat map up.
Does the church have a cemetery?
I believe there's a cemetery in there, yes.
So it goes all the way right there. Block. Yep, it goes all the way to that line.
Yep, goes all the way to the township road, comes over,
Mhm.
Down,
encompasses around that accessory building,
Yep.
and down.
down, and all the way to, yep, okay,
Yep.
to that solid line.
Yep,
And all those lots north are fine.
Yep,
yep,
all right.
I mean, north of those then.
correct. They were well oversized in '99.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. That's all I'm
Yep.
asking. That's what I'm asking.
Them losing that little bit of acreage is not affecting their developability or their size. They were
That's what I was
they
asking.
weren't put right on the spec in '99. They had room to.
No, they put a lot of thought into this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
There's a lot of moving parts because of right of way abandonment's a different action by the township, and so they don't hold all the cards they will here once that's acted upon. All that property would get quitclaim deeded over, and then they will present the board with a final plat that everything's cleaned up, everything's been taken care of, and then the signature lines.
Who's behind this, Stefan?
Stepan Kutzif, yes. Yep.
Correll?
And he is the owner of Block 1, Lot C.
Correll,
Homeowner.
Vladimir. I know all these people.
Yep.
All right, I move.
We have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Last year they had 2 sons married, so.
Okay, no other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, on to the next preliminary plat.
The Nepler edition,
Nepler's division.
somewhat similar.
Neppers, I'm sorry, Neppers.
There's no L in
division.
there.
All right.
Okay, this plat is looking at a portion of land located in our agricultural district, section 9, Hill River Township. Applicants proposing 5 lots from that existing parcel, 3845.00. That current parcel encompasses 73.18 acres of land. It is located in the east half of the southeast quarter of section 9, Hill River Township. They'd create 5 parcels. The parcels would be anywhere between 13.85 acres and 14.24 acres. So in our zoning ordinance, anything creating over 4 parcels, you need to go through the platting process. The thing is we don't see a lot of these if the acreage is over 20. There is an exemption for the zoning administrator to just perform that, to say you can split that. These are substandard to that 20 acre minimum threshold, and so thus we need to plat some agricultural property. So a couple side notes. The southern 65 feet is the existing parcel is now going to be dedicated to the road right away, a county state aid highway 5. And that's indicated on the plat that's in front of you. The wetlands are depicted in the plat as those as they appear on the National Wetland Inventory. There was no extensive wetland delineation that was done. All these wetlands along there, there's adequate room to develop without having to impact any of those. Out of these lots, I don't see a lot of development happening of these proposed 5 lots. There's some existing buildings on proposed lot 5. Was an old farmstead located right off CASA 5.
And a bunch of rhubarb plants.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, don't give
detail,
away your
Joe.
secret spots. You know, the meeting's getting recorded. I see no issue with, there's not going to be any road development. There's not going to be disturbance. Really, all the lots have, access on a public road to, as far as the access points coming off. There was a comment, Rich Sanders, Polk County Highway Engineer, had commented that there would be no additional accesses permitted along CASA 5, but they could move that access as they see fit. That it would just be one access allowed. That is an existing access through permit. They could move it wherever they would want.
So I guess my question then, for the back lots, would there be access then onto that minimum maintenance road?
Correct. Yep.
Okay,
They'd all have access to the east there.
so then would it no longer be a minimum maintenance road?
No, it would stay. I mean, there's no issue with it staying as the access point be off a minimum maintenance road.
Okay,
It's quite built up on I got a picture of the
well, yeah, but,
until you get further north
yeah,
past
'cause
the
then
half
it's,
mile, it meanders into really not a full township road,
mhm.
field access.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just kind of more or less maintained in front of Sunquist.
Yep. Correct. Yep, they would have, I mean, you can get there. That's the thing is they can get to their site. The access point would be off here. Additional access, I believe Rich's comment is additional access into here would come off that township road if they wanted another one instead of coming off.
Yeah.
CASA 5.
I agree. Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
they have their proximity things of access. There's an access half mile down to this field.
Mhm.
And so they have that access point is sitting, I thought I had a picture. There it is right there.
Mhm.
Right into the old farmstead and
Yep.
some ag buildings.
Yeah. So actually, this Rupert Severson used to.
Oh,
One thing I'll side note, that's that existing access point there. Obviously, Rich had the comment they can move it wherever via permit through the highway department. The owner of this parcel, which is out of the plat currently, has had discussion with lot 4 and lot 5 owners about creating his parcel in there as drawn in front of you, about occupational lines being the new legal boundary, which they would have to do that prior to final plat approval. What's drawn in front of you right now is what that would be based on occupational lines, not the legal description currently. So the legal for that parcel, 384501, would need to be updated prior to final plat approval. That's one of the conditions that went over. This is the change. Red line is what he legally owns based on his legal description. The white lines are occupational lines which have been surveyed and are what's in front of you right now.
what's an occupational line?
What he's been mowing and maintaining
Oh,
for the
okay.
last
Okay,
years when it was Severson.
okay. That's where Rupert lived.
Mm-mm,
No, okay.
mm-mm. No,
So
this is
his actual line is the white line. What he owns.
no.
Legally, it is the red line.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What he's been maintaining and things over the
Oh.
last
Yep.
several years, many years, is the white. So
Oh.
the way that it's worded is that they figure that out
Mm-hmm.
before final plat approval, or it will be bound to the legal description. If you don't update your legal for that, then it's going to be held to those red lines. Because that needs to get figured out. If we have property that's platted and unplatted, this SWIP swapping is very difficult. You can't do that. It's going to go through the replat process anyway to swap.
Called encroachment.
Yeah, well, what he's doing is called encroachment. Yeah, we had a fun meeting about 2 weeks before the public hearing as well. Legally, you don't own it, so
Why
it
you own it?
doesn't matter to me. You have to agree with lot 4 and 5 owners.
Correct.
That one building is really close to the line.
It's very close to the line.
If not over.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we have it teed up that recommend that the board approves this preliminary plat with the caveat that they should determine that property lot line quick claim deed it before final plat approval, or
Mm-hmm.
it comes back before us with that legal description as is, not the occupational lines, because what's in front of you is the occupational line with all the encroachment.
Mm-hmm.
If they can agree, that's fine. That I don't have a problem with that. If you agree, then you update your legal and you own it now, not
Right.
this,
And that, yeah.
or be a part of the plat and then it's the same thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
And it don't cost you a dime.
Nope. So, any other questions on this? Just looking for a motion for preliminary plat approval with those planning commission recommendations.
So
Do we have,
moved.
thank you, Joan. Do we have a second?
Yep.
I have a second by Paul. Any further questions? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Okay, last action item I have in front of the board is the resolution to approve the 2024 Polk County AIS Prevention Plan. Every year, I bring the draft plan to the board, typically at this time, last meeting in December. That's more of a living document. We can edit and make changes based on the AIS task force that's in place. We can tweak and do that, but what's in front of you is the final version of our 2024 plan, which then needs to get approved via resolution 2024-89. The living document carrying forward, which I included in the board packet, was the 2025 draft AIS prevention plan. Couple things I'll side note was we did add, this is the final plan. All members have been updated. We had a couple of changeover, had a couple added actually April Swenby from Sandhill Watershed District to our AIS task force because there's some stuff going on with Union Lake and zebra mussels and being able to pump. And that's really the changes that in the 2025 plan really reflect that, and some of the things we're looking at doing. Updated a little typo here of staff looking to secure permits. Our goal is to have these signs at all access sites. They've been permitted, they just need to get put up, and having tools at all DNR access sites. That requires us to have a permit. So our sign project in 2025 will be in the off season, securing the permits we need to put those signs up, get tools out there, people to brush down a kayak, whatever it is, a river access site. We'll hang those right on the sign that has, these tools are for AIS prevention and a little bit of a reminder for some of our more remote sites. And then also some the other thing, special projects. We're going to continue to monitor zebra mussels in Union Lake, as well the impacts to Union Lake property owners will be the operation of the pump. Had a meeting with April and Union Lake Sarah Improvement District with Minnesota DNR. They issue a permit for them to pump the lake down in high water periods. Well, being that there is villagers that can move now into the Sandhill Watershed District via some ditching and other water bodies, and then eventually the Sandhill River, it sounds like they will not let the pump operate with water temperatures below 45 degrees. So that's a tight window of pumping. If you get a lot of snow during the winter and lake level jumps up, you're gonna have to pump hard in the spring. The only other option is doing screening, and those screens are so tight they have to do some studies on if the pumps can even handle having a screen with that much restriction. So other very expensive items are UV and all that kind of stuff that
You can't grind them.
yeah. Put a little bleach in the water as it goes through the other end, but no, it is going to be something that needs to get figured out. We hope that we just continue to maintain some good water levels and don't have to initiate the pump very often in the summer months. So
So
every
they
year's
can pump
different.
if the water temperature is a certain temperature.
Be it that that's not the breeding season then for zebra
Don't
mussels.
have the villagers then.
Right. As the water warms, they're going to start breeding, and so then you have villagers, which you can't see. So it's not about the zebra mussels themselves, it's the stuff in the water where they can just get into another water body.
Kind of big.
Microscopic villagers and So that's really the changes moving into 2025. Again, this is a living document, so that's why it's drafted up at the end of each season. Again, member lists are all up to date, and I did submit our year-end report the other day and have got feedback on we have met all the criteria for us to get money for the following season. We have a agreement with the DNR for 24, 25, and 26 that we're the delegation authority, environmental services with this AIS plan. So we'll carry that forward to at least 2026. We'll reapply unless there's issues with needing to contract it out or doing something else. So
Has the loan been paid?
the loan has been paid. Yep. So we had the board made action to gift Union Lake Sarah Improvement District with a loan for their eco harvester, and they have repaid that loan. So we got the check the other week. So budget's looking on track. I just had included this with the board packet where we are in 2024 leading into 2025. So we had a little snafu with some staffing, which somebody leaving and heading back to schooling. And so a little early, so 72% of what we anticipated for salaries and benefits were exhausted out of the budget. About 89% with education, another 88 out of admin costs, contracted services right around 73, 75%. So overall, we're sitting below what we budgeted for 2024. And all that money just gets carried over into the next year for special projects, and then hopefully getting 3 full-time inspectors in 2025.
You're gonna work your magic?
I am going to advertise super early. So HR told me to hold off till the new year, but I will be putting that position out quickly in January of 2025. Try to draw some other college students applicants.
You're asking for a motion.
Yeah, I'm asking for a approve resolution 2489 for the 2024 plan, and then a separate motion.
Move to approve the 24.
Is there a second? Second by Paul. Any specific questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And number 2, a motion to approve the draft Polk County species, excuse me, prevention plan.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion carries.
I got, if I can, Commissioner Wellhead, if I can get your signature on this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would you mind if I did my items? I've got a trip I gotta take.
Yeah, let's do it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm going down to the budget items. Where are they here? So I've got 4 resolutions for the 2025 budget. The first is the levy itself. The second adopts the budget that is the summary budget that you saw at the last meeting. The third one is the commissioner's salaries and per diems for 2025. Actually, that's a typo. That should be 2025. And the fourth resolution is for the non-represented employee wages and benefits for 2025. So the first one is a little different than what I showed you 2 weeks ago. After we've been working with Abdo as our finance director now, and they suggested redoing the resolution to show the specific amounts of each levy or of each department's levy in these categories over here. It still totals the same, which is the 3% overall. We used to do it this way, and we went to just consolidating it. So it's kind of a matter of taste and style, but so be it. Those are the numbers, and I'd recommend you approve Resolution 2485.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Much easier to adopt the other resolutions if you adopt the levy. So I put them in this order. 2024-86 adopts the summary budget that you saw. I actually have a copy of the summary budget for the chair to sign, and a detailed line budget, which is about half an inch thick. Anybody is interested in a copy? Otherwise,
No.
if adopted, we put it in the office for public consumption. We only put the summary in the packet.
Looking for a motion on this?
Yes.
Yes, I'll do it.
Second.
Second. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
I will say that I have already had discussions with Abdul about revisiting the 2025 budget for format, for analysis, for maybe some key things going into 2026. And if we end up making some actual budget changes, we'll come back to the board, probably working through the finance committee, and share those. But it won't change the overall picture. It won't change the levy. That's the actual budget, those 4 pages. Actually, it's more than that, isn't it?
Is there a committee that meets in negotiations? Is that the personnel committee or is it
Yes.
finance?
Same two commissioners, but yeah.
It's all the same.
Personnel committee.
Yep.
Mhm.
We're meeting Thursday, actually.
Mm.
So the next
The
resolution.
meeting on Thursday is on.
Yes. Yes, with solid waste.
Yeah,
Okay, so I've got it on. It's
yeah. Hopefully the weatherman is incorrect.
This resolution approves the commissioners' salaries and per diems for your board work and committee work, plus the contributions towards your health insurance. We do that for commissioners who are in the employee health insurance along with the regular employees, or if you're outside of that, basically due to Medicare, the policy is 2/3 of the monthly amount, which is $1,066.67 a month. Per diem stay the same at $75. I think as we talked about last week, you were to review these and we had no changes, so I would
What's the list? The West Central Water District should be on that list.
It's on that special, it's on the specials, right? Or on special assignments?
I'd have to go look for it. We've been,
Local water phone.
Was it?
if it's not on there, I will get it added. This is like the 3rd year, so
We've been paying the
yeah,
per diems.
yeah. Okay, I'll make sure that it's on there. I'm not seeing it, but good catch. we would have caught that one by now. As you can see, there's quite a number of committees. And you are assigned to it. So,
I thought it was on there, but
okay, we'll get it on there. Thanks. It's very hard to see what's not there. Otherwise, I'd recommend approval of resolution 2024-87.
Move.
Is there a second?
Dies for lack of a second. Oh, that's not my call, it's chair.
I'll second. Any other questions, concerns?
just for the record, I didn't want to raise.
No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Resolution 2024-88 sets the 2025 wage grid for non-represented employees, and specifically the county administrator, the sheriff, and the county attorney. It also sets the amount for benefit contributions. So we have the wage grid, which applies to all employees per their union contracts. This is what's being agreed to. Grades, hourly rate. These are the positions that are non-union. Not all non-union positions are management, of course. Many of them are. We do have modifications to 3 positions, the Sergeant 2 position through our contract negotiation, a position to advance oneself as a sergeant into through experience and additional training. And then the 2 public health positions basically supplant lead positions in those 2 areas, but they are reclassified out of the union. We keep the other positions in case we need to revisit them. And we do agree with the AFSCME unit on what the grade ought to be, but these are actually management positions now in a department that traditionally has had very few management positions. County administrator is basically step 9, grade 22 of the grid. I've agreed to that over the years, no sense in changing it. County attorney and county sheriff, when the grid was changed from 26 grades to 21, we did score these positions. The 2 positions ended up, the incumbents were paid over the top of the scale, so we just modified them by the COLA. If you have a change in those positions, you're going to end up negotiating with the new attorney or sheriff at the time for wages. So these 2 are specifically noted as what their wages would be. County contribution towards benefits per month is $1,600 for 2025. That's the negotiating position. That's what we'll vote on with a few of the contracts later this afternoon, and we, as normal, apply that to the non-represented people as well. So I would ask you approve resolution 2024-88, and to my knowledge, there is no one who wishes to state that they're not interested in seeing a pay increase next year.
I so move.
Second.
And a second from Joan. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Thank you. That's been quite a 6 months worth of budgeting.
Start all over.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much that way. In fact, today would have been the day we would have had a finance committee meeting with Abdo, but the way the agenda is and everything, I couldn't quite get it fit in.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I actually had it on my calendar, but
Yeah, so I may still contact you via email. Maybe we can do it just virtual sometime over the next couple weeks.
I'm not back until first part of January, so,
Well, maybe
right,
we
so,
maybe
second,
maybe we just wait until the third meeting or the third Tuesday in January. It should be okay.
Yeah, that's the day before I fly out.
Okay. I don't know if you want to have your lunch break now. I appreciate you moving me up. I will be back in time, but I do have an appointment later, and I want to get back in time for the one.
Is Elisa here?
Yeah. You
That
want her
was
to
one
come
of the
down?
questions that Hillman had yesterday. What do you want from Mike Kosowski bringing him in? And I said, we've just done that with other appointees and
Yeah.
started to do it with them now too.
Yeah. Does he not remember that the county board appoints his board members?
So I don't know. No, but it's,
Do we want to just keep going instead of
That's
breaking?
up to you. I'd love that. I got so much to do this stuff. You remember, I got a problem at home.
I can go down and see if Elisa can come down.
sure.
Otherwise, you've got Sam here.
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt, so.
Yeah, right.
All right, I think I got them all.
Appreciate that.
Would you like me to do mine, or do you want to check with the?
so let's,
Sam, come on up.
So Mike wasn't coming in, correct?
yes, he is.
Hi, Sam.
He is coming
going?
in. Oh, no. So then we're,
I don't even know who he is. I know he lives in Fisher and he's been on that board for years, but
I mean, is there a way to get a hold of him so he doesn't
Well,
come in? Because otherwise we're gonna have to wait till he shows up.
well, we'll still be here by 1 o'clock, won't we?
Well,
Maybe not.
I don't think so.
I think they might start going a little quicker now.
Yeah.
Okay, so looks like the first one I have on here is an appointment to the Extension Committee. The previous at-large committee member's term is expiring at the end of the year, and she's also reached her term limits. With that, at our last extension meeting, it was requested that we try to find somebody to replace that at-large member.
Who was that? Who is that?
Who is it? Connie Hannison?
I know.
Wasn't Rung
Hennessy,
And
Hennessy, I
Hennessy.
think.
Was Aaron Rung in one of those extension things
He's,
too?
he
Yes.
is too.
He's,
We have two positions.
yeah,
mm-hmm,
so Brianna here would be filling the at-large
mm-hmm.
area, and then there's to replace Aaron, I believe, as well.
Gosh, how do you
You could-
replace Aaron?
Good point.
Well,
I know.
Oh, there's someone.
got
There's got to be
I will,
someone out
I will
there.
just say that you need someone who will come to meetings.
I know. They're tough.
I did mention to Heather, Cody Benson.
That was one of the names.
You know, he's actually like, he's mentor. So, I mean, he's kind of, I think he probably would be in your district.
Is it the Cody Benson I know?
Probably, he's actually like the East Polk Development Association rep.
I know a Cody Benson. I don't know if it's that Cody Benson. Do I know him?
Well, let's hold on that one. We've got
Yeah,
one to
But I mean,
deal with,
that's,
and maybe
I had mentioned
within
that
the
to
next 2
Heather,
weeks we
so,
can come up with
Okay, so
something.
she knows.
yeah. And I think, yeah, because she was gonna check with him, wasn't she?
There was some names tossed around that they, whoever knew him was supposed to
Yeah, and I
reach
think
out
she was gonna reach out to him, so, but yeah.
So again, I'm recommending Brianna for the at-large, but it's up to you to decide if that's who you'd like to represent all of you on
Yeah.
this committee.
It sounded that she had expressed interest prior,
Yep,
correct?
too.
When she was working here, she had talked to me about it before. She's active in small farming at their
Mhm.
house and has a couple of little ones, so they might eventually be in 4-H.
Mhm.
So I think she.
Do you know her? Anybody?
Brianna worked. Yeah, she worked over in our license center, so there should be some.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just know her from there.
Right.
Yeah.
I certainly would.
Yeah, I have no problem with her, so
I would
I will
move-
move to approve.
I would second.
We have to go with.
This is replacing Connie.
Connie,
Correct.
yep. Mhm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
Right. So next we'll move on to the lease agreement for the extension office in McIntosh. There was a small change, but of course there was in the amount. It went from $1,562 a quarter to $2,016 a quarter. So that ends up being an increase in the year of $1,816. It has not increased since 2018. So when they sent this to me, I wasn't expecting the increase, but she said it's been since 2018, so it's about time for an increase.
6 years. 7.
Same square footage and everything,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, everything's
Is
the
there a
same.
motion to proceed?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Warren. Is there a second?
Second.
And we have a second.
Are we leasing the entire building?
No.
No,
Oh, same. It's same.
Well.
It's
what is it? It has the square footage in here somewhere, I believe.
Like most of it's,
And this is the same office that the sheriff's department is
Yeah.
using some space down too, so
Will be, yeah. I mean,
that makes sense.
well, yeah, because I mean, it's,
Yeah, they're only doing 672
72
square feet out of the whole building, so.
All right. Are we okay to proceed? All those in favor say aye.
aye,
Those opposed, motion carried.
All right, my next item is our tobacco license for 2025. There's been a list here of everybody who has applied and paid. And so we're just looking to approve those tobacco license for January 1 of 2025 to December 31st of 2025 as the list as presented.
so move.
Is there a second?
second,
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
aye,
Motion carried.
Okay, my last item was an email received from a concerned taxpayer. And this was received after the Truth and Taxation meeting. At the end, she requested that it would be read at that tax meeting, but I felt right just to have it read here. This is from April O'Connell on the Crookston and Fisher Agland tax hikes in 2025. On behalf of our Polk County extended farming families, those of our farming neighbors and fellow agricultural landowners, I'm writing to protest against the egregious Polk County and Crookston Township, Minnesota ag land property tax hikes proposed for 2025. Ag land should never be taxed at the upper ends of valuation, and knowledge of the difficulties and risks our farming community faces should always be taken into account for ag land taxes. Please see attached Hertz.ag MN Farmland Management Cautionary Published Statements. Side note, there was nothing attached to the email that I received. Crop prices and commodities certainly do not increase by greater than 20%. As an ag landowner, I do not condone these tax hikes and am concerned the cities of Polk County are biting off the hands and savings of the farmers and generational ag land owners that feed them and others, quite literally. Farmland should never be utilized as a bargaining tool for historically extreme county tax hikes and could be viewed as an attack on the farming community and foundation that built and fed Crookston, Minnesota. I would like message and response to be noted and read aloud at the upcoming tax meetings, as I will not be able to attend. Sincerely, 4th generation Polk County farmland owner, April O'Connell. So the response that we are still pulling together, just because we want to get a lot of information to her, it will be regarding valuation versus tax, the valuation and taxing methods that are prescribed by Minnesota statute that we need to follow, and then the history of the county levy and county tax rates, just because it was noted in there that extreme county tax hikes. I believe that you guys have done a fair job in keeping those in line, and we didn't see a larger increase in actual county taxes. So it might be more dictionally specific to what she is referring to. She did not list any land that she owns. There was nothing that I could find under her name. However, that doesn't mean that it's not listed under an et al, where she would still be in there or anything like that. But so that's just what was requested to be read and presented to the board. So any questions on any of that stuff or any other questions for me, for my department? Perfect.
No.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good luck finding it.
Bargaining agreements.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good afternoon now. Nice to see you.
You're
Happy-
probably gonna have to go scroll up.
We're way far ahead of schedule.
You are. You guys are just clipping along here. No time to waste. You guys are hard working today. I love it.
We weren't that far ahead of schedule
No,
up until
we were
10
kinda-
minutes ago.
Struggling for a while there.
Okay, well. So here we go. Let me scroll through. Oh, let's do our just stuff. Too far south? No.
You are not
Yeah.
far. You're too far yet.
Yeah, if you're at Richard, you
Keep going. And after
Mm.
Jake. Getting closer.
Which stuff does Jake have? Oh, there's one of my contract, right? There we go. There we go. Okay. All right, so today I have 5 items that are all related to the same thing. This is looking for approval for our collective bargaining agreements for 5 groups: the AFSCME Courthouse, AFSCME Social Services, the LELS groups for the essential employees and the essential supervisors, and the Local 49er Highway Maintenance Group. All contracts looking for approval on this on the COLA increases, which is one of our main issues during contract negotiations, but they have all agreed effective January 1st of 2025 with the COLA increase of 3.5%, January 1st of 2026 with 4.25%, and January 1st of 2027 of a 5% COLA increase. In addition to that, each group has also agreed to the monthly contributions to be $1,600. This would be the contribution going towards their insurance premiums. $1,600 in 2025, $1,850 in 2026, and $2,100 for 2027. We brought forth 2 groups at our last county board meeting. That was already approved, and that was the Teamsters and the highway engineering groups. So in addition, these 5 groups plus those 2 are all looking for an approval for these 5 contracts to match the last 2.
I'll move to approve the courthouse.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Further questions, comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries.
And then again, the same proposal for the AFSCME Social Services Group.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
And the third would be the LELS Essential Employees Group
Same.
and the LELS Essential Supervisors. 2 separate contracts, but same.
I move for both.
We have to do them
We have to
separately.
do them separately. I'll do the essential employees.
Yeah, do different agreements.
Yep, essential
So you're
employees.
doing employees. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joan. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Okay, and then we have the LELS Essential Supervisor Group as well.
I'll move.
Second.
It's Warren and second by Paul. Any additional questions, concerns? If not, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Okay, and the last bargaining agreement would be the local 49ers highway maintenance.
I move.
Moved by Paul, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joan. Any further questions concerning that bargaining agreement?
I'm just glad they're done.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Are they all settled now, or we still have that one left?
I think
One left.
we have one left, and
One
we're
meeting with them on Thursday,
Yeah.
And is that 1:30? Let me just check the time.
10 a.m.
10.
I believe 10 a.m. and then, yeah, 10.
Let's check on to find where.
10 a.m. on the 19th.
Maybe, yeah.
He went
Yep.
to a meeting.
Well, that was later, I think.
Oh,
Mhm. I think Mark, yeah,
Yeah.
I think Steve.
Okay, I'll go check and see if Mark's around.
Okay.
Yep, so one
Okay,
left,
so
one left,
that's-
Warren.
Hmm?
One group left,
Mhm.
Which group is that?
solid waste.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. I'd almost expect that.
You need these to be signed?
If you could, yep,
Yeah, I'll do that. I've got two here,
okay.
and I
You
haven't
can
gone
just-
through this list, but I don't see any agreements.
I don't think there's
in there.
anything there for you to sign. It would just be,
Just these two
Yep.
right now today.
yep,
I know that I've got a public health one to sign. I don't know if it's in that folder or not, so Sarah sent it.
I
out.
bet I have 1 minute to go into the other room.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
think you do. Okay,
Thank
we'll
you very
take a
much.
short,
And I got something for
we'll
you
take a
guys,
short
of earrings.
recess.
Yeah,
Good morning.
You
Or
guys,
no,
re-
afternoon, sorry.
you guys ready for me?
Yep.
It all depends.
I don't know if I'm ready for you.
How long are you?
I'm way too fast here.
Abatement list review.
Yeah, start with abatement list. Okay. Yeah, I'm supposed to do this.
If you just keep scrolling, you should be the next one after her stuff.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
I just wanted to read every bit of stuff.
How many contracts?
There were 5 of them, so.
Oh, so you might have a little scrolling. Few more.
I think the scrolling part's gonna take longer than the rest of it.
Might.
Yeah, so I think it's on page 452, if that helps.
452.
Actually, it's before that. 450.
Oh. Familiar. Okay. Just start by reviewing the abatement list. And this is something part of our abatement policy that you guys approved a few years ago.
I wasn't here,
Okay.
so they did it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
It's a good thing. I used to have to come by every time there was an abatement and run it by you guys, but now we only have to do it if it's over $2,000.
Oh, good.
So
Something new then.
yeah. So we'll just kind of go over that really quick.
I will.
And this is the list. There were a total of, I think it was 28 abatements that we considered. We approved 26 of them in total. One of them, the one in the red there, we had to, that one is the only one I had to bring to the board here. And total abatements in dollar value is $12,553. It's right up at the top there. We denied a couple of them because of we only go back 1 year for this particular type of abatements, and anyone can apply for an abatement however they want to do it. And this particular one, we only go back 1 on that per the abatement policies. Any questions on this?
What year did Burgrass have their fire?
That's on the list.
Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking that should have been, corrected going forward.
Yeah, that was a local option abatement, and it was. But for the local option abatements, those go back the year, the prior year, and that's kind of what it was done there. It was abatement from 2023, and I think that was literally the only one where we had to bring it to the county board. So, and that should be done now. The value is, I don't think they rebuilt out there.
No,
I think
they
they
haven't.
just built in Boston there. So,
Yeah. Okay.
there aren't any other questions on it.
If not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make it.
By Warren, is that a second by Joan?
Yep.
Okay, any further questions regarding the list presented? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
The next thing I have is I have to bring at the end of the year notification of changes and also clarification clerical error changes and notification just of all the changes there. And then that is just the approval and any changes after the County Board of Equalization must be fully documented and maintained in the assessor's office and available for review, including clerical errors, Board of Appeal and equalization changes, homestead changes, forfeited property, although I think that's more the auditor's office that takes care of most of that nowadays. And then exempt property to taxable. Any of those things, if you have any questions on that, you can always come in and you can find that information. Any questions on this portion?
Nope, I move.
If not, I still got to go through the clerical errors.
So Warren, you're making a motion to approve?
Well, gotta go through the errors first, he said.
Yeah, we got a list of clerical errors that I'm supposed to bring to you guys. We've got a few pages. Almost all of these are low income housing ones. There was a law change last year, I believe, and we had to make
That's the lease agreement for
we didn't realize we had to change a modifier in our tax program. And so there are no value changes on it. It's just a classification change. It went from, it kind of defaulted to go to 4A as the classification, and it should have been 4D1. So there's like 35 parcels were affected. And these are all like apartments with low income housing in there. And then there's a couple of them here that were other kind of clerical errors. A couple of them were appraiser. There was information that we hadn't put in properly. That's the one in Brandsville and the one in Vineland. And then the Belgium one was a clerical error within the office. There just a modifier was not put in. So, any questions on this?
I'll make my motion to approve again.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further questions?
I'm glad you fixed all your errors from 4A to 4D.
Yeah, I'm glad to. We are working on there's a tax court case that came by in November there. I'm kind of working on that. It's Dakota Pipeline, I believe.
Dakota Natural Gas.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to be well over 2,000. I don't know if do we have to review that with the board?
Yeah, we probably will once just be at the court case.
Yeah, we'll bring that up in January and let you know the status on that. The other thing, whenever I come before the board, I like to encourage everyone to take your training for County Board of Appeal. And right now, Warren and Mark and Sam are all good through next year. So you guys should be good, but it's always good to have it. The more the merrier, taking that training. So it's always good. If you, I can send that out if you want me to. It's just a reminder. So I'll
Sure.
resend that out.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Now that you reminded me, I'll do it. Sometimes I don't even know what it means, and sometimes it just kind of gets sent
Yeah.
to the basket. So now that you tell me, what is it in Court of Appeals?
Yeah, it's for
Training?
county. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and all we need is one person who has that training. But if everyone else who has it is sick. Of course, then you wouldn't have a quorum. But,
Mine was still good yet, but
yeah.
maybe not.
No, yours, you must have,
Must have just lapsed
yeah.
now this year.
so I'll send that out. And
Sure. I'll see if I don't basket it. I'll look into it.
it's I don't know, it takes about half an hour, 45
I'm sure I will find the time now that you asked specifically.
Okay, all right.
Who's doing lesser?
Read your signature.
Lesser, I think that is either Melanie or Jenny. I'm not sure. It used to be Amber, but
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering because we're selling some bins and dryer and that type of stuff, and I assume that's
Well, I
you
guess,
are-
I don't know, I would assume
okay,
it's
I
coming
can
in
put him
an hour.
contact, or I can email you. But I'll
See if Chuck.
what's that?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look into it and get
or
back to
else too, like, or else when the stuff does leave, I could just email you and then
Yeah.
you can,
that works too.
okay, I'll do that.
So okay, so you don't want me to have them get in touch with you?
No, I'll just when they go down the road,
Sounds good.
okay. We didn't vote, did we?
We don't have the vote. Is there anything to vote on?
I think you already
There's a
approved
motion.
the two.
There's a motion and a second
Oh,
on the
The notification.
oh, yep, on this.
Mhm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Whatever.
No, you're supposed to say aye.
All right. Well, if you don't need me, I get out of
Okay.
here.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
What was decided with in regards to the Marshall and Polk water system? Did Chuck say anything before he left?
We could tell them and cancel it, because we'll be
That's okay,
meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you
There's
know,
no
he's-
action involved, it's just a,
well, no, we have to
You'll be an appointment.
appoint,
oh,
but
Yeah, we
it's,
should
but
appoint
if
him.
he's, if he was planning on coming,
Yeah.
either we wait till he shows up, or if someone can.
I can get call. Well, I emailed Ashley to see if Chuck had mentioned anything before he left.
Mhm.
I haven't heard back from her yet, but she might be at lunch. But we can try to I can try to call him.
Mm-hmm.
Try to find his number and call him and
Sure.
tell
Yeah,
him not to leave.
yeah. So maybe we should
just tell them we can talk about it tomorrow.
Well, we
Well,
can
no.
appoint him.
Well,
We-
we need to appoint,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it's just whether or not he was coming here.
to be appointed. If he was coming here to be appointed, then
Either we need to try and get a hold of him.
tell him not to
Or-
come.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we just recess and see if you can get a hold of him,
Sure.
you know.
If you want to do that.
We'll do that. We'll take a temporary recess and convene when we get some information on that individual.
Currently on that board.
Okay,
We're back in.
are we back on and we're unmuted? All right, we are back and we have a very important appointment to make here regarding the Marshall Polk County Rural Water System. Okay, so Mike, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you've been involved for past.
Would love to. Grew up in Buffalo, North Dakota. My dad was on the Cass County rural water system when they first started back in the 60s and 70s. So when I was asked to be on the board 27 years ago, I thought it's my chance to give back. And so I've been on this board for 27 years and it's been a lot of fun.
I know you've been there for a long time.
Yeah. And I'm one of the young ones, believe me.
Really?
Yeah, we've got some just wonderful, wonderful people
Good.
that have passed on too. So yeah.
You live right in Fisher?
I live south of Fisher. Am I drawing a blank with New Houses?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a mile to the east of New Houses.
Okay,
My wife and I built a house there 27 years ago. So
okay.
Sheldon Jurgensen
Yeah,
is who I took over for. So
okay.
he was one of the original board members. So yeah.
Yeah, Wally preceded me as a commissioner.
Who was?
Wally.
Okay. Wally Jurgensen. No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know he was one of the originals, and then Sheldon took over for him.
No. On the county board I'm talking about.
Oh, sure.
Not in water district.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great people.
Yeah.
Miss them. Yeah.
Any other questions, John?
Oh, glad you're.
No questions. I think we've done this with other appointments, brought them in and just have a little conversation as to whatever.
I just want to say I appreciate it because, we were at a board meeting today and everybody's like, what's going on? Because we've never been asked to come in. And that's our fault. Maybe we should ask to come in every once in a while to just let us know, let you guys know that we're there. And one of our failings, I think, is that we're an arm of the county, and we've always tried to be under the radar. We didn't want to cause any waves for anybody here or anything, so we've always slid under the radar. Well, a lot of times we get forgotten if we're not the squeaky wheel. And I know, Warren, we've got a meeting tomorrow with some issues that are going on with the new water system that's coming in, and we feel like part of it is our fault, that we should have been in you guys' ears more. And so I appreciate you letting me come in.
Well, I met with Mr. Hillman yesterday. I was over in Warren for a different meeting and just stopped in for a minute and basically told him what we kind of feel is, I know that Jerry Pribula wants a hard line on that district. We don't like a hard line. Either one can step over it, as far as we don't care who services the people. Whoever does it best and cheapest and with the best water, whatever you have to get 5 miles into the other district, whatever, fine. I could care less.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's just service people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're here. We've been here for 50 years doing that exact same thing.
Just do it.
Yeah. But like I say, Jerry wants a hard line there, and we don't buy that.
Yeah. And again, we'll get into this tomorrow, so I don't know if we want to
No.
get into it at all today. And I know you guys have a lot on your schedule.
Yeah.
So I look forward to tomorrow afternoon.
So do I.
More discussion to come.
Yeah.
You bet. So
Is there a motion to approve, Mike?
I make it.
All right, we've got one by Warren,
And I'll second it.
and we got a second. Any discussion?
No.
Nope.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you
I look
much.
forward to the next 4 years, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
You bet. My pleasure.
If you haven't had dessert yet, there's a cupcake over there for you.
At lunch yet, because our meeting went long. We had our budget meeting today. So
Oh my.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
See you.
We do have one more item on the agenda. It relates to a correction on social service dates. I did notice on April 22nd that normally we try to meet on the second meeting, so that would be the April 15th, not the 22nd. So I am moving, we change that, and Joan has checked. I think Karen is fine with that. So we will move that to the April 15th. I will move that if there's a second.
Second.
A second by Joan. Any further questions regarding the board meetings?
April 15th.
So it'll be April 15th.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried.
Okay.
All right. I think this is our last meeting of negotiating meeting is meeting on Thursday. And I want to thank you all for, working well to get things done. And this will be my last chairing, and we'll be moving on. So I've got just a little thank you for the three of you. A little thing to keep your beverage probably from freezing in the summer. Northern Minnesota been.
Oh, yeah.
Why is there no beverage in here though?
Well, we keep.
This is official.
We'll fill it later.
It could be a bottle of water.
Filled by your preference, right?
Look at here.
But no, it's been a fun group. I know we've made a lot of good decisions, and we're keeping Polk County safe and affordable. And I think that's our goal. We've got a levy, and certainly wish all those for a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and
Thank you.
see you back in 2025.
All right.
Yep, sounds good.
Turn off the